Woo!
Oh.
And the limousine riding, jet flying.
You get close.
I lost track.
Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Barry Beat. Eventually, I will run out of fingers to do.
Woo! Episode 3.
Episode 3, we're still going.
We are ready to roll. Back and better than ever.
That's right. Disclaimer.
We are not professionals, nor do we claim to be ever. Case in point, week 3, still not professional.
Absolutely. So we're gonna try to make this a pretty quick episode. There's some things that we definitely want to tell you about last week's city council meeting. I know that last week, I think it was last week. Now I can't remember.
Last week we were here on Sunday with Renita.
Well, no, I know, but for the council meeting, I'm trying to think if it was last week where we talked about the school board opening.
Yes, briefly.
Yep. So Sonia Spalding came in and talked about the school board opening.
And she's coming back tomorrow night.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
And something else that's really interesting for folks is the Paramount Theaters now going to be able to sell liquor.
I think they have been for a little while already.
I don't think they've had a license.
Okay, maybe they're not in Barre. They're in Montpelier currently.
Yes. I think they are selling liquor in Montpelier.
It's not liquor. It's beer. I don't believe they're doing mixed drinks.
Alcoholic beverages.
Hey, there we go. Canned beer, folks. It's
Canned beer?
Yeah. Fiddlehead, Switchback. No, not Switchback. Fiddlehead. I don't know what else. I know they have Fiddlehead, though. Lawson's. They might have Lawson's.
I don't know.
You don't even know what I'm talking about. You don't drink beer.
No, I don't drink beer.
Don't look at me like you know what I'm talking about. Get out of here.
Let's see. And, of course, we discussed animal and fowl ordinance, which was...
We sure did.
For an hour long, over...
If anyone tuned into the city council meeting, that was definitely not the high point of it. Let me tell you.
No, it was not. Although I think it was important,
And I should take that statement back because it is important. If you have neighbors that have chickens, if you own chickens, it is important. To those of us that don't have chickens and don't have neighbors with chickens, wasn't so important.
But most people do have cats and dogs, especially dogs.
Okay. I'll give you that. I don't have any animals, so except my kids.
Was I off base? That's the question. Because I was a little difficult when it came to the vicious animal. Or it wasn't even vicious animal. It was just a dog bite.
Well, I mean,
2 dog bites, you're out. And I was not okay with that because
I think the discussion about it was good because there are circumstances that need to be discussed with dog bites and animals and things that happen. And, if somebody, is provoking your animal and gets bit, it shouldn't be fair that your animal's automatically taken without you getting to state your case and have a hearing about it.
Yeah. It was any dog bite, and that bothered me. Yeah. The vicious animal part of it, no. I mean, if you have a vicious dog that bites twice, yeah, okay. That's
you
should
a problem. Still have a hearing about it. You shouldn't just leave it up to one individual to
absolutely
be able to take your pet away without you getting a chance to state the case. So.
Absolutely. So that was one of the reasons why it took a little bit long.
Yep. Fair enough.
And then we also had Fred Duplessis come in, and he came in and told us about our audit, which I do have some good news about that, and I do have a video on that.
Ooh, please share.
Isn't this exciting? It's so very exciting.
Everybody wants to hear about our audit.
Yes.
At least it's a positive note.
Yeah. The audit was really good. We haven't had that for a while. Well, how about I just let you listen?
I'm happy to talk about any of the numbers if you'd like. As I said, the second letter is in the back, and it is a report on compliance and internal control at the financial statement level. It starts on page 93. And what it tells you is that there was no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no issues of non-compliance at a financial statement level. So that's a clean letter. That's not always been the case in the past. But this year, all of the issues that have been raised in any prior reports have been dealt with. And so it's nice to have that to know that give you confidence that you do have good checks and balances, good controls, and a good accounting system in place to give you that real-time information.
So that's a pretty good standing.
Credit to Don.
Absolutely,
Don
to City Hall.
Monahan.
Yep.
Our financial director. So.
Yep. They've done a great job down there. First audit since I've been on City Council that's been clean, and
first one I've heard in 3 years.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. And Fred Duplessis. I don't know. I'm so sorry, Fred. Not that you listen to the podcast, but
you never know.
That's true. That is very true. You never know who's watching. We have listening. We do have a viewer from Wales. Did you know that?
I did know that. You've told me that before.
I'm pretty excited about that. Anyway, so I mean, it was a pretty good audit, and Fred has, as I was saying, he's been our accountant or our auditor for, out of the 10 years, probably 7. There was a 3-year stint where we went with a auditor down in Rutland and then went back to Fred Duplessis. So, and actually it's like Sullivan and Powers.
Again, no clue.
I'm sorry about that.
Since we're talking about it and we're talking changes, is that something that goes out to bid on a regular basis? Do you know?
It does. That's what happened the time that they were not selected, is that we get a lower bid from a firm down in.
Is it a 3-year contract, yearly contract?
It was a 3-year contract.
Okay, good to know. I didn't know the answers to that, so glad you did.
Pretty sure it was 3 years.
Sure.
It may not be. I can't remember.
Sounds right to me.
So we also, on Tuesday night, Steve gave us a small demonstration, or a small, what's my terminology, presentation of the ARPA funds and how to spend those. Gave us an idea of how we should go about in soliciting information. But I think council at this moment has decided to pump the brakes a bit. We kind of want to find out what the city's needs are before we start talking about, doling out money to folks.
I think we have a lot of needs, but we also have a long period of time before that money needs to actually be spent. What was it? In the Times Argus, it said 2026 or something like that.
It has to be allocated by 2024, and it has to be dispersed by 2026.
Yeah, so we've got time.
We
got
do.
2 years, and there's no need for us to dole it all out in the first 6 months.
No, definitely not.
And as we know, in the city, there's projects that come up all the time, boilers or equipment or whatever. So we might as well take our time and study it and make sure we're putting that money in the right place.
Yep. And we also had a conversation about the voter approved items on the ballot. So this year, you're not going to see, Circle requesting stuff, the Barre Heritage Festival request, Project Independence, all those individual items are actually going to be lumped together in one ballot item.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know. It's going to be interesting.
Because, and I don't mean to point fingers at anybody, but in years past, we had a neighboring municipality in Montpelier that requested money for the senior center, and that one item was voted no.
Correct.
So there are some people that vote no on all voter approved financing requests, for whatever the reasons are. So what if there was something they wanted to support and it's all or nothing? I see that could be an issue.
It could be an issue, and I was thinking about that myself as
I don't really like that.
I certainly may or may not have voted no on that particular item as well.
Because,
I voted no.
Well, the other thing to remember for the budget is, whatever percentage that Steve brings forward is then directly impacted by the voter approved items.
So council is the one that determines who goes on that list. So
yeah, but I mean, if they follow the checks and balances to get their information on the ballot.
well, if Montpelier went through and got 300, is it 300 or 500? I can't remember. I want to say it's 300. It's 5% of the population. So whatever 5% is. So it's about 400 or 500
Sure.
people. No, it might be 10% because I think it's 500. We would have to look at the chart.
Anyways,
So the point is that if they go and they get the needed signatures, they can be a separate item on the ballot. So you still get the chance to vote against them.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about all the requests being lumped together as one, and it's all or nothing. I don't really like that, because what if I want some of it and I don't want others? I may have a personal reason why I don't want to vote for something.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out this year. It may not be something that folks like, and we may have to go back and
What was the point of doing that? Was it to save money on ballot printing?
it was, and to help avoid the additional increase that we're receiving. Folks can get a ballot or a petition and get on the ballot no matter what it is. I could tomorrow take out a ballot item or take out a petition to say, please pay off my car. And if the majority of the population votes for it, and the majority of the citizens that are voting vote for it, Barre City as a whole would have to pay off my car.
Still, I don't I don't want everything lumped together. That's it. I just not okay
So,
with that.
so that's a question for you guys. Is that something that you want? And if it's not something that you want, you should probably let us know. It's already gone through. So
Can't change it now, but we can change it for next year.
well, I think we could change it. We would have to backtrack what we've already voted for. So
Reach out to your counselors, folks.
yeah,
Go
if that's something that you don't want, and put it in the comments below, you can certainly let us know whether or not you like that idea. And if not, I'm okay with it. I'm not
we can
too
revisit
upset.
it. You all can revisit it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. What else do you got over there?
Well, let's see. On to our next item, which is budget discussion.
Yeah. Well, some interesting news came out of the budget discussion. So
Yeah. Let's see. Which one do we want to do first? Let's talk about the Civic Center.
that should be an interesting one.
You like the Civic Center?
I do like our Civic Center. I'd like to learn more about the financial impacts of our Civic Center on our budget.
Sure.
I bet everybody would like to know more about it. So explain that graph, Michael. I think the
So-
part that's really interesting is
The red?
the bottom year and what the red means per year.
Correct. So for the record, I mean, the Civic Center is absolutely not a moneymaker. We should know that. There's very little things in our city government that are moneymakers.
And we shouldn't expect that our government should be making money off of anything.
Exactly.
In terms of a profit.
Exactly. I mean,
But-
the Civic Center is really there as a
It's a public entertainment space.
correct, and it's an asset of our community.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, it does cost some money. Last year was pretty bad because there was no events up there.
Everything was canceled and shut down.
Yeah.
But I think in an ideal world, what we would expect is that it was able to pay for itself and break even. We're not looking to make money,
Correct.
but we also don't want to be losing
Correct.
a lot of money on it. So maybe if we just go year by year, we can talk about, what is that, 10 years coverage right there?
No, almost 10 years. It's from 2013.
All right, so 8 years. Why don't we go over 8 years, talk about what the difference is between the two numbers, whether it was a profit or a loss
Every year was a loss.
since 2013.
Yeah,
Lot-
and one of the main reasons why is because the cell phone company pulled their contract with us. AT&T, who used to have a tower on top of the Barre Auditorium.
That they paid us rent on.
Correct. And now they don't. In fact, based on the revenue that you can take a look at on there regarding the cell tower, we're down to $47,000 annually. And
taking last year, obviously with COVID cancellations of everything, no public gatherings, but taking that out of the equation, looks like, what was it, 2019? Looks like there was a big loss, which is, I think, right when the cell tower was taken out. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I'm not gonna lie.
So, how did the conversations go in regards to the Civic Center with the losses that are posted there? What was council?
It's a municipal asset to our community, and
that was the overall council discussion around it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was there talk on what we could do with that space to try to offset those losses rather than keep incurring them year after year after year?
So that's actually not a discussion for the budget time. That's really a discussion that we should probably have after the budget is determined. That's more of a substantive discussion that really should be dealt with on the Civic Center committee, and they should have that conversation. A question, again, for folks that are listening or watching, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, what should we do with the Civic Center, folks? Give us some ideas.
Because it's definitely an asset that our community has, and
it would be nice to see it utilized more.
It would be.
And advertised more.
It absolutely would be. Then another discussion that we had was the fund balance, which is fun. So we did have a fund balance of $578,000, I think.
You're talking the budget surplus.
Oh, yeah, the budget surplus was $568,116. Yeah, so we actually had that conversation on Saturday and determined that we were going to take $50,000, buy down the budget, and
that's a change from where it had been.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we decided to do that. We looked at one of the things that we were talking about was the increase in inflation that we're experiencing, which is significant. I think double digits for heating or energy costs. Mm-hmm. That's a huge problem. And people that are watching that are, may remember the Jimmy Carter days where he said, "Put on a sweater." Okay. That's unfortunate. We took that into account, that people are going to be struggling, and wanted to lower the percentage of the increase in the budget. In fact, it actually came out pretty good. But so we took the $50,000 for that, put that into the budget, buying it down, and then we took, I think, $200, put it into, does it say there? $200 undesignated balance. That's not. I think the vote was $200,000 to go into a reserve fund, which was something that we were allowed to do with the charter change that we passed a couple of years ago.
So is that just sitting in an account? Will it be gaining any interest on it?
It's just a basic account in case we need to grab the money for an emergency. So it's like a rainy day fund.
So no interest being credited to it.
Not really any big interest on it. And then the remainder was allocated to capital improvements.
Okay. And those haven't been decided upon yet?
Correct.
And what will the process be for deciding where that money will go for capital improvements?
Well, I assume it would be first put through Steve, and then Steve would bring it to the council.
But are those requests coming from department heads, such as Bill Ahern, our DPW director? Or are we talking counselors coming forward with suggestions, both?
So
citizens, I mean, I guess that's what I meant by process.
Yeah. So, a counselor doesn't have the in-depth knowledge of the capital improvement needs that the city has that someone like Bill Ahern would, who is dealing with it every day. And any counselor that thinks that they do is incorrect.
I just want to, just so people are aware how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. It would come from Bill Ahern or somebody else.
And there'd be a discussion about it. It's not just going to go through from DPW to the manager and nobody votes or discusses it or anything. There'll be plenty of public discussion and input. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
Perfect. Got to have that transparency.
So now we can get on to the really exciting part, which is, what does this mean? And
Yes.
I'm thankful that you guys have stayed with us so far. And hopefully, maybe not. Our metrics are sad.
Please watch the whole thing.
Yes, please.
Michael cries at night if you don't.
I do. Anyway. So the budget breakdown. So the number that we really care about is the one that's in red, way at the bottom.
That's our percentage increase.
Correct. That is what we're looking at with some of the changes that were made on Saturday. The budget originally was around 6%.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it might have been around 4.
I think it was 5.
4 or 5. Yeah.
5 and then pared down to
Yep.
4.
And
4
city
and a
council voted, majority of the city council voted to put it at 4%, no higher than 4%.
Cap it.
Correct. And then we whittled it down to 3. And with and I didn't mention this, we also took $100,000 from the ARPA funds.
Oh, we didn't mention that.
Yeah, that's
What's
something.
that going to?
So those 4 positions that the city is going to have, I actually, during the budget meeting, I was like, I'm not sure if the, those 4 positions are really needed right now. But it is what it is. That's what we decided to do. And the majority of the city council, there was only 2 councilors that voted no on that, to take the ARPA funds and apply them to portions of those.
And those
And
ARPA
it's-
funds were available. That money's okay being allocated following guidelines to funding new positions.
We believe so. So I'm pretty sure I think Dawn said it was okay. Obviously there's, if there's any problems, she'll definitely let us know.
Okay.
So with that, we got down to the 1.99%, which is below 2%, which is really good.
For anybody that's on Social Security or disability, you're usually rise between 2 and 3% per year. So that's keeping you ahead of or under the bump you get for Social Security and disability or SSA or whatever.
When you factor in, energy costs and all that stuff, I mean, you're still, there's not much you can do.
Well, I mean, the bottom line
with
is
those type of problems, the energy costs are going to go up.
that's nothing the city can control.
Correct.
But I mean, the thing with the budget is every year, we've got people that are here that need raises, just like everybody that's listening that works in their own private job. You'd like a raise every year, and if you don't get a raise, you probably aren't going to want to stick around for very long and work very hard. And so, we need to reward the employees we have. The fuel costs are the same for the city as it is for anybody filling up their own vehicles. So if the price of gas goes up or heating oil, the city has to pay that as well. And, the things break and need to be repaired, and inflation's going up and everything costs more. So, it's impossible to have that increase number be 0 or even close to 0. I mean, 2% is an amazingly low increase.
It is,
rate.
especially when you think about the fact that, energy cost. I think I read somewhere it was like 24% up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's insane. So, and that's just energy cost alone.
Yeah.
And it's, we're facing some difficult times, in my personal opinion.
I think unprecedented. I mean, it's definitely it's a new world.
So what does this mean on an average house? So I have a fancy slide.
Yeah, let's see this. Break it down for him, Michael.
Yes. So,
and just in case you were wondering, that is Springfield.
That is
live.
One of them is Springfield. So the first one is Cartman's house.
South Park. Yeah. The
Yep,
second
yep.
one's Springfield.
Yep. The third one
Family
is
Guy.
no. The third one's not Family Guy.
Oh, is it the bottom one? Is it American Dad?
They have the American Dad is the bottom one. They have a pool in the back, in case you're wondering.
On which one? The third one?
The American Dad, the bottom one.
Okay, well, let's go back to the third one.
The
'Cause I don't
third
know.
one, they have a platypus.
Is that show on Nickelodeon?
What are you talking about? How do you not know this?
There's a cartoon on Nickelodeon with a platypus. It's a secret
Yeah.
agent.
Secret, yeah.
What are we talking?
But you don't know the name?
No.
How can you not know the name?
You think I watch it? What's the name of it?
I want you to see the look of disdain that I have for him at this moment in time. It's
wanna talk-
Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb. That's what it's called.
Phineas and Ferb.
Do you want me to talk sports? Would that make you feel better?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Let's go back to the slide.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So an average house, $100,000, we're talking about an increase of $39.30 annually.
That's oh yeah, 983
Yeah.
per quarter.
So Cartman's house, $100,000. His parents are gonna have to pay an additional $39.30 annually.
And
which,
that's on your assessed value, not the
correct.
not the price you
Which
paid
is
or the price you would sell it for.
correct.
Those are
That
different
is
numbers.
significantly different.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Simpsons house, which is a little bit nicer than Cartman's house, is $150,000, and their house is going to be about $58.95 or $14.74 quarterly. So that's that. And then Phineas and Ferb's house, which Mr. Maury does not even know who Phineas and Ferb is.
I know who
Clearly,
they
you
are,
didn't
yeah.
know their names.
Yeah,
How
they
could
got
you
a-
not know
they've
their
got a
names?
sister,
They do, Candace.
Candace.
Yeah.
It's a little disturbing that you know more about Phineas and Ferb than I do, but that's
Listen, everybody here that is listening knows who Phineas and Ferb is,
Every
and they
single person.
love Phineas and Ferb. Everybody loves Phineas and Ferb.
Please comment if you know Phineas and Ferb in the comment section. I'm curious
You're
to
gonna
see
get so
how
much
many
hate.
do and how many
You are
don't.
going to get so much hate.
I'm not hating
You're going to
anything.
get so much
What am I
hate.
gonna get
You're
hate
going to
on?
get hate.
On what?
You're going to get hate for not knowing who Phineas and Ferb
I
is.
know who they are. I just couldn't think of the name of the
you
show.
couldn't even think of their name. You're going to get hate for that, and you're going to get hate for trying to shame me for knowing who they are.
I'm not shaming you. I'm just pointing out that you know it and don't have any children.
So and then the last house is the Phineas and Ferb, $200,000, $78.60 annually, an increase, not what you are currently paying, what you will pay. It's going to be increased to what you are already paying. Then for the American Dad's house, who has a pool in the back
And an alien living in the house.
and
too.
an alien. That's right, alien. What's his name?
I don't know.
Roger.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's gray.
And you know what? I think that he has played as a princess, which makes him what? A Disney princess.
Why is he a Disney princess?
Because Fox is owned by Disney. Therefore,
No, I don't think so.
yes,
Are
they
they
are.
really?
Yeah,
And ABC.
Disney owns
And,
everything.
And
Disney
and ESPN.
Disney owns everything. They're a monster.
I don't think they own Fox.
They own Fox.
No, Murdoch owns Fox.
No, that's Fox News.
It's all the same Fox.
No, I'm telling you,
Uh,
Fox. Google it.
I'm going to Google it right now.
You do that.
Keep talking. So
Oh,
it's people understand.
I'm waiting for the comment. I think it's Century Fox they own, or Fox or something like that.
21st Century Fox.
Which is who does Family Guy? They
Yeah,
do.
No, I know. Yeah, I didn't realize though that they owned Fox. That's interesting.
Yeah.
There, I learned
Yeah.
something today.
So, Roger is a Disney princess. I'm pretty sure he was a princess on.
Sure, I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay. Anyways, moving along. I don't know how we got to that.
I don't know either. Sometimes it's just funny. So anyway, if you have that $300,000 house with the American flag outside and a garage and everything else, it's going to be $117.90.
A year increase.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Which means breaks down $29.47 quarterly. So that's the budget recap.
Exciting stuff for everybody.
It is very exciting. So we're actually, let's see, we got 30 minutes so far. So we're actually doing pretty good for time. We're trying to chop it down to be under an hour.
45 minutes an hour is our target.
Yeah. So, because we want to respect your time, and
we also want you to listen to the whole thing and not turn us off. So.
Longer than 1 minute and 41 seconds.
Please. Again, Michael cries at night over that.
I do. Well, so the main reason, though, although I like seeing the metrics being high, what I more importantly to me is that you are receiving the information, because you got to know what's going on. This is important stuff. I was listening to Pappas with Steve Pappas. Yeah. And he was talking about, he was making a comment about, people know about the ordinance, but not the budget that we're doing. And we're just, hey, we want to get the information out there. It's important information.
That's right.
So the next thing we can talk about are things that you're going to want to put on your calendar to talk about. So, for example, tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about charter changes.
Ooh, that's always fun.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
Specifically for charter changes? Let's, instead of doing every single one, let's do the ones that are exciting or interesting.
Sure.
Or
so there are a couple that we're just removing, like the grand juror.
And what does a grand juror do, Michael?
I have no clue.
Okay, so
yep. Lucas was a grand juror at one point.
We probably don't need it if we don't know what it does.
Yeah, that's
when have we ever? I forget, when was the stat that we've used it last? Isn't there? Are there some?
The last person that was the grand juror was Lucas, and we voted on it as a joke.
But no, I think that we haven't utilized it, which is why we're getting rid of it.
Correct.
There's not a real need for it in today's world.
Correct. It's like, I guess it's like a prosecutor kind of role, and we don't have any use for that.
Yep. Good. Get it out of there.
Yep. So one of the things that is a significant change would be in the 104 general corporate powers. And that is changing it so that Steve McKenzie could not receive property, or it has to go all through city council. Everything has to go through city council. We're, our city is set up with what's called a weak mayor system, which is the city council hires a city manager, and they run the city, and that's what their job is. The manager reports to city council. So if city council said, don't you dare purchase anything, then he's not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that.
Burlington would be an example of a strong mayor system.
Correct.
The mayor is also the city manager.
Correct. And so the city manager has a lot of power within the city, which
in a strong mayor system.
No, in a weak mayor system, the city manager has. So the weak mayor system is where basically the mayor is just there as a facilitator.
Yeah, he's a figurehead.
Correct. And a strong mayor, the mayor is actually the city manager, which
they
there's
make the day-to-day decision.
There's positive and negatives to it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of nice that the city manager doesn't have political, aspirations and stuff like that. That's, you don't want your city manager to be a political activist or a political.
Well, you say you don't want. Some people may want that.
So put in the comments whether or not you want a city manager that is a political activist.
The people in Burlington seem to like it. That's where Bernie came from. He was the city manager, mayor up there, and then he's where he is now. I'm just saying, some people may like that system.
Correct. Some people may like that system.
Right.
So Burlington does have available housing up there, and
thank you, Michael.
I'm gonna get into trouble.
No
now.
no opinions.
No opinion on that. I think what we have is pretty good.
Michael's happy with Barry. We know that.
I am happy with Barry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think Montpelier has a weak mayor system as
They
well.
do as well.
So if you, well, whatever.
Moving right along. What's the next one?
So let me just read it
Corporate
off.
powers,
So
yes.
so the city may purchase real property, and it goes on, blah 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 blah. But the section added was any acquiring or conveying of property through the means listed in this section shall require approval from council. So that would basically mean every decision about doing leases or anything like that would have to come to city council for approval. It's fine. I don't think that it's needed in the charter.
There hasn't been any recent issues where calling for us to do
I mean, there hasn't been issues that I've looked at, but some people have had some issues with things, which doesn't make a difference because it was voted on by city council anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't issues where something Steve did that
No.
council wasn't aware of.
Steve hasn't done anything wrong.
Right. So,
Which,
just to be clear, that's not why
Yeah.
this is on there for a charter change.
correct.
I think some clarifying language is all right, but
Well, whatever.
Anyways, what else you got there that's interesting? What
So-
do people want to hear about?
So this one, this is another thing where city council already has the authority to do this, but we're putting it into charter, which I'm not really okay with this one. But it's capital improvement plan, preparation and submission. The manager, after consultation with department heads, shall submit a proposed 5-year capital improvement plan to the council at least 3 months prior to the annual meeting. Contents. The capital expenditure plan shall include a clear narrative, summary of needs, a list of capital expenditures to be proposed, blah, 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 blah.
I guess I question why that needs to be in there for an ordinance or a charter change. Why can't you just say to the city manager, we would like to have a capital improvement plan? Why does it have to be formally written and requested like that?
I would agree.
That seems a little excessive to me.
Yeah,
A little bit of a
I would
waste of
agree with
time
that.
Putting that in there. I mean, the manager's supposed to work on what council gives them to work on. So, anyways,
Yeah,
okay.
I would agree with that.
Interesting.
Getting rid of the city plumber inspector.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting rid of the city plumbing inspector.
Yeah, whoever that is in the charter.
Interesting.
I don't know who that is.
Doesn't
I don't
mean-
think we've ever had it.
Doesn't mean that plumbing still doesn't need a permit, and that probably Robbie won't come around and look at it.
You need a permit as long as you don't get caught. I mean,
Michael,
I'm just
let's
saying.
not go down that road. You are a sitting councilor. Don't tell people they can do things if they don't get caught.
Get a permit to do the stuff that you need to do.
Thank you. Says the guy who licenses his ferret.
Not anymore.
I'm just saying, you used to license your ferret, and you're out here telling
That
people
is
that
true.
they don't need
I
a
did
permit
license
for
my
plumbing.
ferret.
Yeah,
I don't
please,
need.
please, Joe the handyman, who's never taken a course in plumbing, go and do plumbing on your house and then sell it to somebody else.
YouTube is amazing.
Yeah, good, Michael.
Can teach
Good
you
advice.
how to do things.
Good advice. Why don't you tell them to work on their own electrical too and sign off on that themselves?
Feel the hate. I feel the hate, Rich.
I'm just
Feeling
saying
the
that's not. You probably shouldn't be telling people to mess with something like plumbing.
Whatever. So,
I popped your bubble. All right.
so one of the other charter change items that we're going to be discussing, which is definitely going to get a lot of comments,
Ooh, I'm excited. What is it?
local options sales tax.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that. So
Yeah, it was a pretty lengthy conversation. I think it's going to be put on the ballot. I know that Ward 2 voted no against the sales tax portion of it the last time. When we removed the sales tax, it made it just alcohol and rooms and tobacco. It was fine, and it passed the city. But the sales tax, I think people were not overly excited about.
Yeah.
So it's going to be put out there again.
not the time to be adding sales tax on things.
Yeah, that's about when I had my conversation about, this is not, we're adding this tax on, and people are struggling. I mean, and then I made the quote about, put on a sweater, and that's not the kind of callous feeling that we should be giving to the citizens of Barre.
No, and I hate comparing us to other communities, but I mean, facts are facts. We're not Williston.
Correct.
We're not Church Street. I mean, and we don't have, to be fair, we don't have the population that those communities have. So,
and just to be clear on the comment that I just made, council wasn't being callous. Their thought process is, the council's thought process is, we put the sales tax and that money goes to capital improvements.
But here's the thing: we're also closer to New Hampshire than other communities are.
Correct.
That have sales tax, that have added this tax already. So we don't want to push people away that are already staying here versus going to New Hampshire and adding that extra 1% on top of that may just be the driving force. Yeah. I just don't think that this is what we should be doing.
It's a future problem that we're going to have to look into, right? I don't think it will pass. And I will, when we vote to put that on the charter, I will probably vote no, because I don't think it's the time.
Well, and all we're doing is making things purchased downtown 1% more expensive.
Correct.
Amazon's prices haven't gone up 1%.
Well, that's not true, actually.
Well,
so
they are collecting sales tax for the state, but
no, they also collect sales tax for us. Which,
if somebody resides in Barre, they collect that 1%.
They do.
Okay.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, well, can we do that just on, internet sales? Which I'm perfectly fine with. I would be perfectly fine with.
That's an interesting discussion if that could happen.
That would be an amazing discussion to happen. I would actually like to do that if that was possible. And no offense to, buying stuff online, but, you look across the street, right? Here, we'll do.
That's
right across the street, right behind Mr. Maury. Lift up the. You see,
it's Nelson's.
It's Nelson's True Value.
Nelson's.
Yeah. That right there is.
And Beauvair's.
Yeah. Those. If your options are pay more online or go down to Nelson True Value and, help out a local business and the local business that hires local people, right? And I don't know how much he, pays for wages, but I'm sure it's not.
No, I think that's an interesting conversation. I was about doing it internet only based. I'm sure the merchants downtown would absolutely support that.
Oh, I imagine they would.
Interesting. That's worth checking out, though. Ask that question, Michael.
I will. Good. I think I did, actually, and I think the answer was no.
No.
Sorry, folks. Because that did come to my mind, and I was like, I'm perfectly fine with charging Amazon more or any online dealer that sends to us.
Retailer,
yeah. Because, it's about keeping the money locally here. And something that we're going to, like I said, I think we're heading in some difficult times, and that's going to, the money that stays here in our community is going to be better for us.
Yep.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why in the past Vermont has been pretty good when it came to some difficult times. But the other thing that's coming up, which is not really a city council discussion, but, we talk about things that are adding together. So we're talking about the local options tax, the increase in the budget. Now the school is going to be dividing the career center, which is creating a completely different district, a district that is not just Barre City and Barre Town, but of like 28 districts or school systems or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that's going to be voted on, which I know that there was, I actually talked to Sonia Spalding about it, and she really tried to convince me, providing information. It's, why it's a good thing. But when I think about it at the end of the day is, Barre City will not have a veto vote. So if they decide to raise their budget 20% in 1 year, we, Barre City, vote no. It's my understanding
Too bad.
we're going to have to deal with it because we're one community. So, and that's just the kind of thing I probably shouldn't have talked about this. I'm not going to clip it though. But I just don't know that much about it. But that's
on the
what I
agenda for
understand.
this week.
I don't. So you should probably talk to school board members. It's definitely not on city council's agenda, but it's part of that overall, issues that we're going to have to keep on our radar. Local options tax and the other stuff. So look at that. We're at 45 minutes. That's
Perfect.
not too bad.
Cruising.
Yeah, and we get some comments about our flannel.
Yeah.
I'm doing the sarcastic sniff if people didn't notice.
Oh, okay.
It's not like a,
You're not smelling something.
no.
You don't smell
No.
what the rock is cooking.
The Rock is cooking?
If you smell what the rock is cooking. No, you don't get that reference.
Does anybody get that reference?
Michael, that's a wrestling reference from when I was a teenager.
How old are you?
Apparently too old to watch cartoons, but not old enough to have not watched wrestling when I was 15. You want Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage?
Well, I know who
You
those.
want Ric Flair?
I don't
Style and
really know
profiling,
anything about.
limousine riding, jet flying. I mean, I got it.
I don't know any of those
Yeah.
names because I didn't watch.
Nature Boy. That's what it's all about, man. This is great for 30 for 30 on Ric Flair. You should really watch it. I highly recommend it. 30 for 30. You don't even know what that is. That's on ESPN.
I don't know what that
It's
is.
a documentary about Ric Flair. It's really good. I really recommend it.
Because I know who Ric Flair is.
I would hope you would know who Ric
I
Flair
have no
is.
clue who Ric Flair
You know
is.
Phineas and Ferb, but you don't know Ric Flair? You don't know the Nature Boy?
No,
Oh my God, what's happening today?
I think we're done.
Oh
We're
my
done.
gosh, I can't. I don't know
Hey,
what to do.
once again, we appreciate you tuning in.
Please
if
tell me if you know who Ric Flair is. Help me out here, guys. Comment.
I ask you not to,
Yeah.
just so that Rich will be. Just put in the comments like, who is that person?
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
No,
I'll
we
write
do
that.
appreciate you guys
Yes,
listening,
please.
and we're trying our best to get information out there to you. Please like, share. There's no subscribe. Well,
Comment.
actually, I do
You can
upload it to
subscribe.
YouTube, so you can subscribe as
Like,
well.
share, comment. We appreciate it.
And definitely do that so that the analytics on Facebook pushes it out more.
I can hear Michael talk about metrics and then every day.
Yeah, it is true. I do message him. So if we get really lots of metrics going on, lots of numbers, it means I get to annoy Rich more. You guys have a great night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.